Lee, are you ready to rock and roll today?
Let's rock and roll.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
This is the Unexpected Podcast. Okay, well, earlier I asked you if you're ready to rock and roll. If you guys are regulars, you may notice, I don't know, we got some new album decor behind us, which is fun. We have a lot of old albums that we just have collected through the years or that were given to us.
Joe Cocker.
Yeah.
Sun Records. It's got all the guys from Sun Records like Elvis and Johnny Cash and Roy Orbison and Jerry Lee Lewis. And then we have the Ryman Auditorium and David Rogers. We got a Ryman Auditorium. Then we have Sister Rosetta Tharpe. And then we have Glenn Miller up top.
Yeah.
We got a whole lineup behind us.
Yeah, we got a lot of
and
albums.
Beethoven right over your left shoulder.
Or you could call him Beethoven.
Beethoven.
What movie?
I don't know.
What do they call him? Beethoven.
Oh, the Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Right, correct.
Then we have dueling banjos from Deliverance at the bottom.
Hey,
a little contrast.
Beethoven meets what's the movie? Deliverance, yeah.
Deliverance.
Yeah.
Beethoven meets Deliverance. That'd be a movie. That would be a movie.
Yeah.
Beethoven meets Deliverance.
They have to be dueling cellos, though.
Dueling cellos. I like it.
We're going off the rails already.
Going off the rails on a crazy train.
All right. Well, we live in... Oh, yeah. You've got that shirt on today. In my defense, I was left unsupervised, so he says. Yeah. And the awesome Wits frozen custard.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got this hat yesterday. I saw it up there, and I was like, it's a good-looking hat, so I had to buy it.
Right.
And support our friends over at Wits.
Yeah, so if you guys are locals or if you live somewhere that has a Wits frozen custard.
The best.
Yeah. You didn't just get a hat, of course, when you went in there.
No. I never told you what I got.
Oh, I didn't ask. I was wondering if you went small and reasonable or if you got a little something large. Oh, dear.
I got a banana split.
You did?
I did, with peanut butter.
Okay. Well,
I had a little splurge.
A banana split is one of your favorite treats.
I could make myself sick on banana splits. I love banana splits.
Okay.
They're my favorite.
But you don't do that very often. Right.
No, I don't.
No, I mean,
that is the first banana split I've had in probably 4 years.
Okay.
Or more.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Okay, good job.
Restraint.
Good job. All right. Well, we live in here in 2025. Life is exciting. Everything's exciting. You never know what's going to happen from one day to the next, if you're talking about the news or the big picture. But another part of the times in which we live is that we have what we call a meme culture.
Oh, the meme culture. Kind of like the mime culture, but with sound.
Well, not always sound. It could have sound.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. Okay. Are you going to do your best mime imitation?
Okay. How's that?
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, this whole topic today is spurred on by a meme that I came across, but it was more of an infographic.
Fun fact, spurred on is from spurring the horse when you're trying to go forward.
That's true. There's no horse involved, though. No horses were harmed in the making
filming
of this podcast. Yeah. Yeah, we don't have any horses, but you used to have horses.
Useless information.
I know. We're just off the rails here.
I love it.
On a crazy train. Well, okay, before I get to what this infographic was, meme is, it's funny to me that in our culture, we adopt words and then we start to use them, and I think the more that time goes on, the more quickly things are changing technologically and in different ways, and so you just kind of, everybody uses this terminology, but some people might not even know where it comes from.
Right, and that makes me extremely uncomfortable with one word.
What?
You said it this morning. It's funny you're bringing that up. I come from a mechanic background, so working on cars and automotive technician.
Okay. What did I do? Did I do something wrong?
No, it's just that when I taught high school automotive, kids would come in and they say, "Oh, that's ratchet." I was like, "What does that even mean?
Yes.
What is ratchet?" That is like cringe
because
to me.
Because you know what a ratchet
is a tool used with a socket to take a bolt or a nut off. And you use it to loosen or tighten a bolt or nut.
Right.
Or a ratchet strap to hold down cargo. Ratchet. It's wretched. Wretched.
Right.
She's wretched. Wretched person, not wretched.
Wretched.
Sorry.
Yes. That's a slang term that just gets under your skin.
Oh. Huh? Like people that don't pronounce their T's.
Okay.
Button.
Oh,
not button.
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 Hey, but we all have our little
idiosyncrasies.
Yeah, come down off your pedestal here. We all have things that probably irritate us, and then we're all also guilty of things that would irritate others. Right? So when did you become like the speech master?
Speech master. I guess since I married you and you kept correcting me, and I thought it was unfair that nobody was correcting everybody else because you were correcting me.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Okay.
She corrects my English.
I don't all the time. And
when we first got married, you did.
Sometimes I did. Yeah, it was pretty out there sometimes. It was pretty, but I loved you no matter what.
I know.
No matter what.
Even with my lack of understanding and intellectual prowess of the English language.
I knew that one day you would be on a podcast called The Unexpected Podcast.
You knew it.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You had this plan for 25 years.
Planned. That's funny because that's another story. Okay, but so you don't like the way you don't like certain slang terms. We've just determined that already. Yeah. And you don't like mispronunciation of certain words.
Yes.
Other words, you give yourself a lot of grace over and mispronounce them yourself.
Listen, rules for thee and not for me. I'm telling you.
And I know you don't really live by that philosophy, but it's kind of funny to joke about. Okay, so how did we get on that? I have no idea. But so meme, it comes from the Greek word. Here's a little lesson. Which is simply mimina, which means in imitation of. But of course, culturally, it's come to mean.
What's it say? What is it called?
Mimima.
I thought it was my grandma.
Mamimo.
Mamimo.
Well, there might be a meme about your meemaw out there somewhere. That which is imitated, that's part of the evolution of this word, and there's more history behind it. But it's come to be something that is often humorous in nature and that gets copied and spread around the internet. So for young people out there who think that we might have grown up using the word meme, no. But what's funny is my dad was doing memes on paper before they were on social media.
My grandfather also.
Yeah. Yep. By that we mean they would come home from work and have some kind of photocopy of some kind of funny joke or cartoon.
Mm-hmm. And they would hang it on the refrigerator.
Yeah.
And you'd go by and go, that's funny.
Yeah.
And so our screen was the refrigerator door.
Right. So we had memes going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, speaking of those times, I saw another little video the other day, and it was like early 1980s, maybe mid 80s. And it was saying, I think the caption was, the time in history when we had the perfect amount of technology.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to agree, like from the bias of the time in which I was born, I have to agree. It's like, wasn't it great when we didn't have we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have smartphones, but we did have VCRs with VHS tapes.
VCRs are awesome.
We had video games that were simple, not the video games of now, which I can't get my mind wrapped around. And we had, CDs or cassette tapes. We had our TV, we had television, we had cable, But we didn't have 5 million channels.
Right. Well,
and it was kind of perfect.
It was. And I think what has happened since the 80s, I want to sound very sophisticated at this point in time and juncture in this podcast.
Okay.
I do believe that we adopted a culture and went so deep into it called escapism.
Yeah,
and we have developed technology to be able to be two-part. Reduce the workload, I can't talk. The workload on humans, or eliminate their job altogether, and help us escape from this realm in which we live in.
Yeah.
Because whether we zone out on TV, that's why a man can sit there and go, it glows.
Right.
We've been looking at fire. Then we moved on to to plays on a stage.
Okay.
Shakespeare.
Well, we had ancient Greek theater, and then
and then the Colosseums and all of the stuff. But and then we move on to the silver screen before talkies. It was just movies, and then talkies came, and then we've got full immersion, 3D, Dolby Atmos, full immersion entertainment, complete escapism.
Yeah,
there are people, and I've done a little bit of research on this, that wear their VR goggles consistently so much that they get rashes around their eyes. And then they're in a virtual world for so long that they get disconnected from reality.
Right.
And and it's showing in society.
It is showing. It's funny because when we were kids, we were told, don't sit so close to the television. That's not good for your eyes.
Now we got
it right there. Put it right there. It's wacky. Whether it was really harmful for our eyes, I don't know. Probably was.
I used to hear, Lily, get away from that TV. You're going to go blind.
Right.
I was already blind, so I didn't care.
Yeah. That's
well,
true.
Not quite.
Bless your heart.
I couldn't see. Wore glasses since I was 3 and finally got LASIK around 37 years old.
Yeah.
Now I'm 47, 10 years later, and it's starting to dim a little.
Right.
I might need to get some glasses.
Right, but still, you can still see.
Oh, yeah, I still got 20/20 as long as good lighting. I can read and do all the stuff. It's fine.
Same lighting. I think it's all about lighting.
Yeah, it is.
When you get older, and protecting your eyes, you need to wear the blue blockers. Whatever.
Because I sit in front of computer screens all day long. Yeah. But back to memes.
Okay,
it's all escapism. It's about we want to learn about the world so that we can escape from it. It's weird.
Right. Well, and this is interesting, and I would have to do some research to verify this, but apparently, we think of something like the novel, like you have a book, you have a novel, a lot of people think of that as something that's been around for a long time, but really the novel didn't develop until the 1700s. So before that, you had poetry, you had epic poems like the Odyssey, things like that, and you had Beowulf, and you had plays, and you had all that kind of stuff.
The Adventures of Gilgamesh.
Yes.
Mesopotamia.
Oh, you want to go there?
No.
Okay. But
cuneiform.
Just throwing in words that you know.
Cuneiform and Mesopotamia, and the Epic of Gilgamesh was written originally in cuneiform.
Yes, it was.
And I'm learned. Okay, I'm a learned people.
Real idiot. Okay, but the point being, we think of novels as having been around a long time, but they really weren't.
It's a novel idea.
Apparently,
she's laying hands on me repeatedly.
Apparently, when novels first became available, first you had the printing press, so then people had the ability, wealthy people mostly, I'd say, but they had the ability to buy books, and so at the time, there was this concern that young people were just going to sit around reading novels all the time.
Oh, no.
And they were going to get caught up in it. Isn't that funny?
It is.
Just like we went through that with television, we go through that now with social media.
And phones.
And now we just wish they would go read a novel, hopefully a good one. But
a little step back from the phones, because
there's
a lot of bad info that mislead.
Well, yeah, and that's a totally different topic, which we've touched on before. The problems with social media and that consuming our lives.
Know the source. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's always, and that's the thing with anything like that. There's going to be the pros and cons, because look at the good that has come by people who wouldn't have a voice being able to have a voice.
There are pros and cons to all of this, and how we manage our social media and how we manage our social lives now. It's a different dynamic than it used to be, like you were saying. Whereas now we can say pretty much anything we want,
right?
But with limitation.
Yeah.
You can't make threats. You can't do.
Yeah. Well, and there's still an issue, because I feel very strongly about free speech, and as long as it's like you said, you can't do something that's threatening. Well, but I feel very strongly about free speech, because once you start controlling one person's speech, you're going to
should not be censored. Nothing should be censored. It's people's hearts should be changed. Right. And that's a hard thing to do. That's very hard. And only Jesus can do that. That's the only thing that can change a heart completely.
Yeah.
Is a relationship with Christ.
True. Okay, well, let's get to the meme that I was talking about.
All right, okay.
Because we kind of went into escapism, but that's important. It's an important thing to think about. But this is the one I came across since we're talking about music, or we've got music behind us today.
Cool.
Why CDs still matter. Okay, so, there's a debate out there. Compact discs, not certificate of deposits.
Hey.
We're getting older, so we think about CDs that way too.
Investments.
But CDs versus streaming music. And so, I came across this meme, or really more of an infographic post. And so there's this argument that CDs have superior sound quality. Now, you're a sound guy. And people have tested it, and there's debate all over the place.
The validity of that is sound. You have a physical copy, but it's still in digital form because it is it's written in bits, and on a CD you can only get 16 bits, and that means so it's it can only be 24. Okay, so I'm not going to go into all of it, but 16-bit
is the
versus what you can upload now, which most of the time. So it's 24, the sample rate. So 24 bits per second, sample rate. So 24,000 basically. So 24,000.
Well, the point being that, you're limited on the digital information that's available in a CD. Whereas you can upload more at a faster rate and so forth.
When you're streaming, it depends on your carrier.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Carrier signal.
Yeah. So there's debate. So
there's a variation. There's a variable between who gets good sound and who doesn't, because it's based on if your internet's fast or not.
Yeah.
If your internet's fast, you're going to get great quality. Yeah. If it's not, they're going to dumb it down.
Yeah. And different platforms some are better than others too. And that's a different debate. But so what about you guys? Do you still
48K? I'm sorry.
Yeah, 48K.
48K 24-bit is what's normal now
for streaming.
Yeah. And then what it used to be was 48K 16-bit, which that has to do with the amplitude and how much of a volume you can get out of it without distorting, and how much you get what's called artifacts.
Yes. And that it's not lossless. Like you're getting all the original information that you're not losing.
So Apple Music has lossless, and they have Dolby Atmos.
Okay.
The Atmos, it comes through a little bit cleaner, but I'm losing people right now. Man, I could go nerd on that stuff.
But so let me ask you guys.
Sorry.
Do you still own CDs, and do you still listen to them, or do you kind of keep them for nostalgic reasons? And do you use them as a backup? We don't know what the future holds, and there are people who say it's inevitable. At some point, there's going to be some kind of cyber attack, and we're probably going to lose internet for an extended period of time. Now, don't know if that's going to happen or not. But what are you going to listen to if it does happen, because I won't have my streaming service. We were early adopters on Spotify, and of course we
Can I make a
have
nerd
Apple
suggestion?
Music too. Yeah.
Okay. If you have CDs or streaming, or you've downloaded, you can download this music and put it onto a zip drive or a hard drive.
Well, you mean from a CD?
From a CD, or if you download it from Apple Music and buy it.
Oh, if you buy it.
If you buy it.
Well, yeah.
You can download it. You can put it on a zip drive.
Yep.
And it'll play back the quality that you want.
Right.
You would actually have more space if it is a Dolby Atmos or whatever. You can put it on a zip drive.
Right. Yeah.
And you would get that sound. So that I think everything should go to a storage if you've got songs that you want to keep.
Well, and that's the difference. If you own it on CD, you own it outright.
Yep.
If you have a streaming service,
you don't own it.
You don't own it.
You're
now,
renting it.
What I've done as a short-term solution is created playlists and then downloaded them to my phone. So even if I'm away from the internet, I can still listen to some of my favorite songs that I've downloaded, at least temporarily.
Yep.
So it's a big deal, whether you own it or don't own it. So that could be a factor in the future.
Yep. We use music as escapism also. I know this is turning into kind of like an escapism, but I feel like it's
good.
It's a vital topic.
Okay.
And I know we got a few more minutes left, but it's a good topic. Maybe something we go deeper in later, but Christians have this escapism mentality also, if you turn it over to that, of the rapture.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. I'm, I'll get all.
That can of worms.
I've heard of. I'm going to open it.
Go ahead.
People. Well, I've heard of people running up credit cards and getting in debt and stuff. It's like, it doesn't matter. I'm going to leave and I won't have to pay it back. That is not godly.
No, I could pull probably 5 scriptures right now that will tell you that's not godly. First of all, Jesus said, "Occupy till I come," which is actually my understanding is a military term, but it's also like, you're going to live to the fullest. You're going to walk in all that he has created for you to walk in. I mean, there's one. Another one is Jesus said he won't return in Acts 3:21 until the restoration of all things.
Right.
So it's not about us sitting here waiting to escape.
Well, I think it comes down to this: plan for the grave and live for the rapture.
Or live as though this could be your last day for whatever reason.
That's what I'm saying. Live for whatever. Plan for the grave like you're going to die old.
Right.
But you're going to leave a good legacy to your kids or family or whoever it is. And all that. But that's what I'm saying. All the music that we've created, some of it's on CDs, some of it's on stuff, that CDs do matter. Yeah. And I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, and I think it's like anything. Albums went away because we had cassettes and then we had CDs and then streaming. But now albums are popular again. And so a lot of people are putting their music on a record album. It's the artwork. It's the full package. And here's what I like to maybe not challenge people with, but just ask, when was the last time you listened to an entire album of a band you like, rather than just your favorite songs?
Right.
Because when albums, especially originally, if you bought an album, first of all, you were making a big investment.
And you were investing in the artist.
Right. And you were going to go home and listen to that whole album. There's a reason the songs are in the order they're in. There's an artistic reason.
Yeah, sometimes it's a narrative. Sometimes it's there's a theme.
Flow, or it's a flow that the artist wants you to experience. And so I like to sometimes I'll pick an artist that I like, and I'm like, I'm going to go back and listen to their entire first album. Yeah. Maybe I won't like every song. Maybe I will. But I think that's a good thing to do. And because we live in, this culture, not just escapism, but also like, I want it right now.
Instant gratification.
Take the time to explore an artist who's meaningful and that you enjoy.
Find new artists.
Yeah.
We're having a hard time right now. A lot of the artists, if you don't tour, you're not making it. Just releasing music now is not the thing.
No, it's not.
It's a rough one.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've got to support our artists and in music anyway.
Yeah.
Because streaming services killed the industry. I mean, it just it came in, you get nothing.
I mean, that's why you got these old people, like almost decrepit, having to tour.
Bob Dylan should be retired by now.
Well, he probably would tour anyway because he just wanted to.
But he's 80-something years old, and we just saw him on stage, 2-3 years ago?
2 years ago, yeah.
And we were like, is he going to make it?
What was amazing was he played the piano and sang, and did great, kept going. But then he stood up at one point, and I thought he was going to, get a guitar and stand up and sing. And then we realized he's holding onto a microphone stand just because he needed help standing up. I was like, oh, no, he's not standing up.
Willie Nelson about to do another Farm Aid, and he's 80-something.
Well, that's older. One thing to go out and do a Farm Aid, but it's like these people who are touring, almost night after night or, city to city.
I ain't going to lie. I'd love to do it.
Yeah.
At least for about 5 years. Just tour. And then
hang it up.
Then hang it up. You ready to go on tour?
I'm ready for whatever.
I think Luke's going on tour.
God has next. Yes, our son will be going on tour with a band and traveling to a lot of cities. And so we're, of course, as parents, keeping him in prayer and praying for the band to be safe as they travel. Yeah, the band is Adjy, Adjy, if you want to check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Leah, we guys, and thanks for sticking it out today.
Yeah, today was a different day.
We're a little tired and weary, but we also love to just come and talk to you guys. And
yeah, we're going through it, but the thing is, we're going through it.
Yes, that's right. That means we're not stuck. We're not staying.
Right.
We're going to keep on.
And you guys keep on. You keep moving on. Keep doing the thing, and loving people, loving God. That's what we do.
That's it.
I like that shirt, by the way. That's a great company.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've never heard of them.
One Strum Records.
One Strum Records. Well, we may talk about One Strum Records here one of these days.
Over 24 years old now. Almost. Is it 20? 20 years old.
You always ask me questions.
2004.
You're going to make a statement.
We started in 2004.
You decide when it was.
We started in 2004, so we're about 21 years old. Oh, look. Rolled us a drink. Joking.
But we're not going to.
No.
We just got water today.
Drink water.
All right. Well, you guys, thank you all so much, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Don't forget to like this video, and please subscribe to our channel. Drop your comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you prefer audio podcasts, please follow us on your favorite streaming platform.